I've got a whole lot of magic behind me that is sealed, some open, but mostly sealed. And I've got a little spicy guy right here. It's a Turtles Collector Booster Box. I'm Robert Monroe from Monroe Magic, and I want to talk to you today. Should you crack this sucker open, or should you keep it sealed? I'm kind of assuming that you already bought it. You don't have to buy one of these things. You probably are better off not buying one of these things. But if you're like me and you love turtles and you're like, I need to buy it, let's try this out. So we bought this sucker for around $382. I think it's on an upswing right now. I think we're getting close to 400 again. But let's go through this little presentation that I created. First of all, open or keep it sealed. If you look at the current sealed box price, $396.43, that's just for today. It may be different tomorrow. It's probably gonna be a little lower, I would say in the near term, and it's probably gonna get a little bit higher as we keep going, although it could go the fate of Spider-Man, but people are saying that there's less stock for this, so I could easily see it staying more around that $400 price point. We did 50,000 simulations of this, and there are other factors involved which push us to this net mean box value of $226. And then if we actually sell it, that's actually $188, which tells you right there. Should you open this? The short answer is no. But for the more curious, let's keep on in this presentation. First of all, let's look at profit, break even, or loss. How many times out of 50,000 coin flips do you break a profit versus break even or lose? 13.35% of the time you pull a profit. So if you open this box 100 times, 13 times you would actually make money. A little more than 3 times you would break even. And 85 times you open one of these boxes, you would be losing money. The percentile, the 75th percentile in that value is $314.74. So most of the time, you're gonna be losing about $100 the moment that you open up this box. Now, if you can get up to the 90th percentile, meaning you beat 90% of people who open this box in terms of value they get out, you'd have 440. So you've made like $41. Let's talk about mean versus median for a second. What this is really doing is, like, let's say you just average all of the boxes everywhere that anyone's ever opened, and you say how much value has gotten out of this. You're gonna end up with a mean. The problem is the mean doesn't tell you the whole story, because effectively there's some people who are pulling a $3,000 card, and that is driving the average price up. But if you actually sort of average them out in a way that's a little different, called the median, you get the actual expected rate. So effectively you rule out those big gambles on the high side and the low side, and you find that actual median as opposed to that weird average that you get with the mean. You get 188. So the story's actually worse than you can imagine. Gap to cost, -169, -208. Can you tell? In this channel, we don't like money very much. Let's look at net outcome percentiles. This is like a growth chart for your children, but it's saying that your child is small and is never going to be a pro NBA player. If we look at this percentage, 10th percentile means you did horribly, $72. You know, tiny little shrimp child, never gonna make anything out of themselves. 25th percentile, a little better, 101. 50th percentile, your child is average. Guess what? You only made 189 bucks. You're out 200 buckaroos. 75th percentile. Your child is a little above average. And guess what? You still haven't made any money. Finally, we get the sealed cost, and then the 90th percentile is where we start drawing a profit. And then finally we get to the 99th percentile, meaning you are a freak of nature. You are going to be an NBA star, and guess what? It's just about as rare to have one of these boxes net you a sweet, sweet profit. Let's keep on going. I like this band, and here's the reason why I brought up this band in particular. I have started selling cards on TCG Player, and there's an interesting lane on TCG Player if you don't mind being a little risky. And that is between the $2 and the $20 rares. These single cards, you can send with a forever stamp a nice bit of cardboard on the back, and put it in a penny sleeve. So you're making sure that the card is nice and protected. You're making sure that it doesn't bend, but you can still ship it light enough that you can just stuck a forever stamp on there and send it on its way. If you ship them that way, you can actually break even to net a profit on the shipping. Is that going to still make you money? No. There's only about 18 of these cards regularly in a booster box of this type, which means that out of 18, let's say you even netted $2 on shipping, you made an extra 40 bucks. So if you look at this, gross band EV means basically the effective value you get out gross at this price range is $252. That doesn't sound bad. But then you put in fees, right? That's getting you down to $162. You throw in the 40 that I'm talking about with shipping, you're back to $200. Is that break even? No. So the budget price realm, sorry, you're not going to be pulling out banger after banger to get you where you need to go. So where do we go? How do you actually break even in this box? Well, let me tell you, it's the greater than $20 singles, which there are 50 so far. And I can tell you right now, I just did another video looking at this price pattern right now. These cards are falling dramatically in value. The $2 to $20 ones are actually rising in value. The reason why is people are actually wanting to play this set. I think the speculators have been burned by Spider-Man, and they've been burned already by Turtles. They've been burned by Final Fantasy. They've been burned by everybody, right? Yes, some of the Final Fantasy cards hold their value, but look at that price chart. Everything's like this, okay? It's a pump and dump. That's what it really comes down to. It's people buying in at pre-sale where they can get it bulk for cheap. Maybe they got a hookup. Then they flip it at 2 to 3x. And then everyone goes, oh, I'm a fool. And then boom, price down to the floor. If you want to see how cards behave when they're actually getting played, it's like this. And it starts lower, right? It's like this. Maybe you have the drop off at the beginning, but then backing up and down. Anyway, these crazy cards that are mostly just being chased because they look cool and they're rare. Yes, Super Shredder isn't a fantastic card. Some of these are very fantastic cards. But the main reason they're priced this way is because of the rare art treatments. They're very expensive. If you get any of these, effectively, you almost break even immediately just by pulling one of these. But tomorrow, they may not be this much, except for the super, super duper rare ones. All right, let's keep going. That's what they look like, right? Super cool treatments. Sorry they're a little cropped here, but you get the idea. Now, let's keep on going. So what do I mean by friction? You got to figure taxes on the end of buying the box, and then you also have to figure the amount that a TCG Player site or something like that takes. I opened up a Spider-Man box not that long ago. The actual value that came out of that box was $122 after spending around $119 to get it. So after tax, I think I still was down. But here's the funny thing. If I just bulk sold it, so I tried to get away any friction of doing this, I actually only would have made $30. So I would have immediately lost $90. That is the friction tax. If you want to make it even, you're gonna have to set up a TCG Player store. You're gonna have to hustle with shipping and writing the notes and writing the addresses by hand so you don't have to pay somebody else to do that crap. It's going to take a lot. You're gonna pay with your time or your money. This is why this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is just having fun with some cards. You get into it for the love of the game. You don't get into it because you love money. Gross mean 315. Gross median, so again, gross mean is the average. You add in those really special cards, right? Gross median is like, oh, you actually look at how many fall in each band and actually make a sensible average. If you look at that, your gross profit rate is still like 30%. You're not making profit. Then you get to net mean, you only have a 13% chance of profit. It's not good, not good. Profit probability is 13%. We already talked about these numbers. Median net is 188. That is the most logical answer. If you wanted to just guess how much money someone was going to lose, yes, lose on one of these, it is a little under $200. Why am I bringing all this up? Because we're talking open box versus keeping sealed. And what you're coming out to is realizing that if you have any sense at all, you should keep this sucker sealed. If you're trying to break even or do that. If you have any sense at all, you probably don't buy any Magic product right now. But just to give you a sense, 13% profit probability, current sealed reference 396 for this. Let me just give you some ideas of other sealed product I have. This Lord of the Rings set booster, bought it at $170 in 2024. This sucker is now around $396 with good volume. This Clue edition back here is a big embarrassment. I think it's less than I bought it, and it's 2 years old. Spider-Man is less than I bought it. Outlaws of Thunder Junction, that's about a 2x. So it's a crapshoot, okay? I'm not gonna tell you it's not a crapshoot, but you do have a better chance of getting wins if you're keeping sealed, if the main goal is speculation, if you just find it fun to do that. Again, this is basically saying the same thing. So, in conclusion, it is not a good idea to open this unless you actually want to play with the cards and enjoy opening it, right? At the end of the day, I would say the most defensible thing about opening cards is opening cards. I'm Robert Monroe. If you've enjoyed this video, like it. Let's say if we get 100 likes on this video, I will make a video of me opening this collector booster. So go ahead and like and comment and let me know what you think. What are you doing with turtles? Are you ignoring it? Are you buying it? What's the vibe out there? I'm curious. All right, peace out.